think it's amazing that they've brought the, probably in my opinion, the best club cup game or cup competition in the world to a football stadium in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There might be a number of fans that go to that game that maybe don't watch rugby at that highest level at a regular occurrence, especially in club rugby. Maybe dander up the road to Twickenham and watch England the odd time, but to see Leinster and Toulouse go head to head will be fascinating. I think even with the loss, the Ulster, it makes it even more intriguing how the game might go. I know the team is going to be completely different. There might only be one or two lads from that Ulster loss that are going to take the pitch against Toulouse. But you never want to go into a huge match week off the back of a loss and probably off the back of maybe a month's worth of fixtures that haven't particularly went according to plan. And yeah, of course, the buzz in the European final week of being there is completely different. And it certainly feels like this is Leinster's time. But we've said that the last, what, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. I don't know how many finals they've been in. But yeah, they seem to be in a better place than maybe they were last year when they had their first team out. I can't see past Leinster. Watching that game against the Ospreys the other week, and they were so clinical. They were unbelievably clinical. Everybody who touched the ball just turned to gold. Every offload stuck. Tag Furlong was at first receiver, throwing intercept passes, and it was just, they look like they're really enjoying it and having fun. They're not going to have the same amount of time on the ball as they did in that Ospreys game at home. Will the occasion get them a little bit? Will they get used to their surroundings quickly? Because that's what you have to do when you go to a completely new venue. You have to take it all in the captain's practice, which will be happening this afternoon. The team will then be announced, and then it's about get yourself in the right mindset to turn up physically and mentally on the Saturday at I think it's 2:45 p.m. tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter, and I think it's going to be extremely close. But I do feel that Leinster just have Toulouse's number, especially with the hammering that they give them last year, the year before in the semi-final, quarter-final. There's been so many games I've lost track, but yeah, it just feels like they have their number, and we'll wait and see how it goes. Yeah, I was really impressed with him against Ulster, actually. Him, Hugo Keenan, were the two guys that really stood up. What was Ulster's biggest threat is Stuart McCluskey, and he was like, Stuart was being really direct, especially in that first half, trying to give him a platform. And Will Connors was chopping him down like I've never seen Stuart chop down like that before. Most people hit him around the hips or hit him high, trying to stop the ball, and then Stuart would get like an extra 3 or 4 yards. He was getting as soon as his hands touched the ball, he was getting leveled in two and taken down. And yeah, Will Connors is the best in the business. His tackle technique is awesome. He probably hasn't had the best run with due to injuries, and now you're starting to see him playing some of these big games. For him now, he just doesn't want to be brought in for a game against La Rochelle or brought in. Yes, granted, it's a final against Toulouse. He wants to be the next Josh van der Fleer that's playing nearly every single game and starting back three trio for Ireland. Like that's where he wants to get to. So it's going to be a huge, huge game for him if he does get the nod at 7. But yeah, I've been really impressed with him. And is it fair? Is it justice that he does get that nod? I'm not really sure because Josh van der Fleer hasn't really done anything wrong, has he? He's been still playing very steady. He gives you good go forward. He doesn't miss any tackles. He's got an engine on him, like it doesn't blow up. But yeah, maybe he'll make an impact off the bench, or there could all this could just be thrown out to take Toulouse's eye off the team sheet. But we'll wait and see when it comes out. I think maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock later on today. Like just to flip it over a little bit, will Thomas Ramos start for Toulouse ahead of Blair Kinghorn? Why would you might ask? It's because of the kicking reliability of Ramos and being able to continuously keep the scoreboard ticking. And an area of Ross Burns' game where you would say he is the best in the business was his goal kicking. And that seems to have actually in the big pressure games. He's missed one or two that have could have really have taken the pressure off his team, and the pressure is gonna come on tenfold tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, he's under huge pressure. His brother Harry didn't play particularly well up in Belfast there last week. I think there's the chat that Prendergast was maybe going to Connacht, and then that was quashed as well. Frawley's been again towards the end of the season has been out injured a bit. He got injured against Ospreys, I believe. So I'm not sure if he's going to be fit and ready to go. So yeah, Ross is going to have to take on the mantle and try and drive this team around. I think he's got the pack of forwards to be able to do that, to be able to lay a good platform for him, to be able to give him that front foot ball. He's got experience outside. Well, whether that's in Osborne, Henshaw, Ringrose, if he possibly comes back in, even though he hasn't played in a couple of months. But yeah, and of course, when you have probably the best scrum half in the world rugby, Jameson Gibson Park at 9, it makes your job a little bit easier too. A bit like Toulouse, Dupont takes so much pressure off his team by relieving box kicks, by taking the ball on himself, taking 3 or 4 yard around the breakdown, getting through a half a yard gap, getting an offload away, and before you know, 10, maybe 3 seconds previous was thinking about the kick that he was going to make to get territory, but he's not having to do that now because DuPont or Gibson Park has made that decision for him. So again, it takes a bit of pressure off the 10. I'm really excited to see how Ntamack goes. He was obviously out with an ACL injury for 9 months, missed the Rugby World Cup. Has played in a few big games, but hasn't played in a crunch, nail biter, everything on the line game. So I'm excited to see how he goes because he has the stardust, like he is a quality operator. So yeah, again, there's just two team sheets that are going to be littered with superstars that are going to go toe to toe with each other. Yeah, yeah, and I think Donny, that what you got to look at as well. And again, the arguments for both sides, but there's so many players there in knockout games. Ireland getting bowled out at the Rugby World Cup quarter final. How many of those guys are playing in this game? How many guys are playing again from getting beaten in the last couple of finals by La Rochelle? A good few. So if it gets tight, and it gets a bit edgy, you even look at that semi-final in Croke Park. Leinster went out to a 20-point lead, and then they sort of tried to protect it. If there's one team you don't want to try and protect the lead against, it's Toulouse. And it will not bother Toulouse if they go 10-0 down inside the first 5 minutes of the game. If anything, that can even become even more dangerous because they'll just try and let loose and keep the free flowing rugby going. So yeah, of course you're going to have. You never think about it like as a player. You're never, oh geez, we lost last year's final. Oh geez, there's a lot of boys in this team, get played for Ireland there, get put out in the quarter final. You never ever think about that. But in 73 minutes on the clock and you're 1 point down, you might you might just ask yourself the question: is this our day? You know, is this meant to be for us, or is this meant to be for Toulouse? Just I'm not saying every single player in a Leinster or Toulouse team might be doing that, but there might be one or two, and that's all it takes. So yeah, it's as I keep repeating myself, it's going to be a belter, and on both sides of players who have played in big games, in knockout games, and have lost. And I think that only adds to intrigue even more to see who has, let's just call it the bottle. Who has the bottle to go out and win, take this game to the scruff and go out and win it. I can't. Leinster cannot go out and hold on to a 15 or 20 point lead and expect to get the same result as they did in the semi final. They've got to keep the foot down for 80 minutes. There will be purple patches, of course, for Toulouse. Of course, there will. And there might be more purple patches for Toulouse. And that's where Jackson and Aber's defence has to come up and in and smash absolutely everything in its way, create turnovers, create chaos. Will Connors, if he's selected, that's what he's in the team to do. So, every opportunity, be clinical, and hopefully it can come back to Leinster. I really want Leinster to do it because I feel like they have been the best side in the tournament this year.